Hey y'all, this is Surprisingly, and I'm glad you're here. This podcast is about one host, that's me, Bridget Dinahan, and one stranger, in this case, a dude named Bennett, sitting down together and seeing where the conversation leads. Just so you know, this is actually our second sit down with Bennett. He was our guest in episode 1, and we just felt like there was so much more to dig into, so we invited him back. If you haven't heard him in episode 1, give that a listen, then join us back here. We're going to get more into grief, his fascinating mother, and parsing out the difference between holding a belief and actually putting it into practice. Stay with us. Bennett, hi.
Hello.
Again.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to you. You're welcoming me back. I've been here. Oh, this is...
It's a chair, yeah.
I know, but I need to do this, I guess. Okay, I'm settled in.
We're open.
So we're just going to continue our conversation that we had before.
Pick up exactly where we left off.
And scene.
Imagine I'm in the last outfit.
Imagine, if you will. What did you call it? I think you called it a shawl, right?
I did. It's a whatever thing.
It's a cardigan. A cardigan.
Oh, thank you.
A little layer.
Yeah.
A cardi. Okay. So continuing our conversation from earlier, I really just want to know more about each of your family members. How you grew up, I think, is super fascinating. So should we start at the top, which I'm guessing the top would be your mother, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with her.
Start at the mother. So I guess starting with my mom goes back to what is it like to be an islander in some respect. They immigrated to the United States in the 60s, 60s, 70s.
Talk about why.
Grenada was, developing island country, part of the English Empire. And then as England started ceding territory around the world, forming governments in lots of countries we know today, Grenada and many of the islands had remained part of the United Kingdom for well into the 1900s. Around World War II, there is obviously global conflict in Europe. Island nations are not super keen on sending a small number of people from their island across the ocean. England is really not too keen on needing them. While there are people, obviously, who go and fight in the war, lots of the nations during this period, the small island nations, either submit for they ask the queen or the king at the time, the queen at the time, for independence, and she's giving independence to a number of nations. Grenada gets it in the 40s, stays very close friends and allies with England all through this time. So you can kind of think of it as an English Caribbean island. It's very, very far south in the island chain, hard to get to, but relatively big. There's a medical school there that lots of English students come to. So there's, a relationship through the education economy with Grenada. And so you have these families, well-educated families growing up on the island. There's a large period of, as the globalization is happening in the 60s and 70s, it is very difficult to be on this island and become an engineer or there isn't the need for that many doctors, right? So immigration is going for especially the wealthier families. You have uprisings of socialism and communism in the islands. You have Garvey. You have just lots of turmoil politically in the time. So there's a lot of seizures of land. People leave. My family began moving to the United States and England. My grandmother went to the U.S. My grandfather went to England. My oldest aunt went to England. She went to nursing school. And the children kind of split up and slowly, one by one, moved and immigrated to the United States. Everyone eventually moving to the United States. Okay. They go to public school in the United States, grow up in a small town in New Jersey, Ridgewood. That's the same town I grew up in. And
And you
they
said
became
earlier
Americans.
that you had this sort of pocket surrounding you of family members there as well.
Yeah, so they all kind of stayed around that area.
Okay.
Lots of Caribbeans in that time immigrate to New York City and the surrounding towns. So, cousins and grandma's brother in upstate New York, not that far, like an hour outside the city. Family in Brooklyn. There's lots of Caribbeans, Grenadians in Brooklyn, in New York City. So it's just a kind of a central hub culturally for people as they left. My mom, her siblings go to college, become all different things. An engineer for my uncle. My mom goes to school in Bennington, studies literature. Aunt, oh goodness, I don't even know what some of them do. But
I'm really putting you on the spot. But
anyway, so my other aunt's a nurse. They all do different stuff. When my mom is my age, I guess. Mm-hmm. She's living in New York City. She is in the arts. You
said she's a dancer, right?
Yeah, she was a contemporary dancer for a while. Studied English in college, English literature.
Art nerd.
I know.
I love
and
that.
I have apples and trees somehow. You look up and you're like, oh, that's right there.
There I am.
I haven't gone that far. So she was an adventurer in that way. She liked the arts. We grew up dancing at home, listening to music around the whole house.
What kind of music?
Oh gosh, like Peter Gabriel. And, yeah.
That's playing on a record player at home.
Her favorite
right
song is
now.
Salisbury Hill.
Okay, I don't know that one.
I'm not going to sing it for you right now,
you.
but it's a very beautiful song. Phil Collins, she loved the album Selling England by the Pound by Genesis. Cat Stevens, even though she disagreed with his politics, loved his music. See, this is where it came from now, right? She's like, I just don't care about his politics. We just don't talk about it. But his music is amazing.
Let's touch on that very briefly. I want to hear a more robust version of your mother as a person. But really quick, I love a sideline. Before we started recording the pod, when I first met you, you said that you separate the art from the artist. Give me just a little nugget about that, because it's fascinating, because I myself have a hard time with once I know you're a kid toucher, an R word, an SA word person, I don't want to hear your music or look at your paintings anymore.
Pretty Young Thing is such a good song, and everyone loves it.
It's such a tasty bop, and he was not right.
We pretend. So here's what I think about the whole thing. I think this is my bias is because I studied old literature. Like, everyone's dead. The people they were mad about when they wrote it are dead. They're dead. No one cares about whether Alexander was a philanderer. No one cares about whether Marcus Aurelius was a really great person, even though he was. No one cares. So to laud or praise somebody's work should not be the same as their life or their actions, or, besides the actions in the work. You can hate one thing and like another thing at the same time. And I really quite think the conversation about, is it morally right to like somebody's art if you dislike them as a person, I think that's an empty question. I don't think it's I think it's, it makes you feel like there's a right thing to do or a just thing to do.
Makes you feel good and righteous.
Right. But it's not really an action. Okay, you can argue the compensation aspect, right? Contributing to somebody's well-being by listening or partaking in something where they make profit off of it.
Yep.
That's like a close argument that's okay, very fair. You can choose to, boycott, withdraw your financial support of that thing or participation. Sure.
That word.
Yeah. The moral aspect of it, I don't really like, as long as you're not praising the actions that are horrible.
Yeah. Enjoy the art.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if people do or don't enjoy it. Like, that's a personal preference, but it doesn't make somebody better for doing that or for not doing it. I don't think somebody is bad for listening to Michael Jackson.
I think there's something to be said. This is such a fascinating
I'm doing
point.
that thing again.
The power triangle. Yeah, but it's in a soft and gentle and graceful way. I'm here for it.
Okay.
I think that's maybe the first power triangle I've ever liked. So
Because it's not trying to dominate you.
you can, it's fine.
Oh.
This is a safe space.
Oh.
It's a fascinating point to make. I love the bit that you said about the morality of it. It's like trying to be righteous is not necessarily the goal.
I mean, put them in prison if they rape children.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
We should have given Michael Jackson a pass, but he was dead. You know, like, that's kind of where I sit on, like, we have laws. Like, Morgan Wallen is a modern example of this.
Okay, yeah.
He should face punishments for throwing a chair off a balcony, whether it was staged or not. Mm-hmm. Do you like his music? Do I care? No. Do I insist on calling him Morgan Wallen to people who like him? Yes.
I have a moral conflict with him because, damn it, if I don't turn my radio station in my car and be like, ooh, this is a tasty country bop, and I look and it's that motherfucker. And I'm like,
I hate that I like it.
I'll be damned if I don't like that country boy's voice. Yep. And I like pop music, so of course I like modern country music because it's pop. Need fresh content like social and web assets, copywriting, and more? Visit freshconsumables.com. There's that.
Yeah.
I had to revisit that because I love your thinking around that. And it actually gives me more to think about how I consume art and the ways that I feel about it, because I think it's a modern dilemma. And one point I was going to make too is, my God, if we saw everything that our beloveds did, we'd have plenty to judge, right?
Exactly.
Like, we're all shit on the inside a little bit at some point or another.
And it doesn't excuse from the responsibility of being conscious about your choices.
Right.
I'm not saying, like, don't be cognizant of it. Like, I'm also not going to buy a ticket to go to see a Morgan Wallen concert.
Me
right?
either.
So,
Me either.
You know,
but
like,
I am going to.
You know, I pick the things that I partake in and don't. I just don't worry about the moral implications of liking something as long as I'm not doing something wrong. It's kind of like, throw a wrench in it.
Give it to me.
It's like eating meat. I love eating meat. Meat's delicious. There. I love octopus, my favorite protein. I really think that they're really intelligent. So I try to eat it once a year. I usually don't eat it more than that, but I love it when I eat it. Yeah. But then I'm like, I think about it and I'm like, they're so cute and wonderful and smart. And if they were aliens with intelligences, and, you know, there's an Adrian Tchaikovsky book that explores an octopus intelligence that is spacefaring. Very crazy way that he conceptualized that, I think. But I eat less of it. I don't look badly at somebody who eats a ton of it. And I am very aware that eating farmed meat, red meat, cows, dairy are horrible for the environment. I try to use less of it generally? Yes. I also try to eat whole foods. But so I'm eating meat. I eat, but I don't buy steak all the time. I've eaten less and less of it over time slowly. So I don't think that the beliefs about things are the same as actions about things. Okay. I don't think that beliefs about things have any bearing on the real world or the, you know, you can believe whatever you like. It doesn't make you a better or worse person.
But the doing does matter.
Absolutely.
And a secondary point is we're all just doing our best.
Yes. And you can't do everything. You can't do everything.
You can't be perfect
no,
also.
There's no such thing.
Right.
So it's just about, like, being okay.
Yeah.
And you can listen to Pretty Young Thing. You can, like, eat meat. You know, I just don't go to McDonald's. You know, I don't eat, like, you know, I make choices that I know I can make that are good for me, that accord with my, here we go, beliefs about the world.
Right.
But it's about the choices. It's not about how I feel about them.
Okay. Thank you for that. So much to think about. I love it. Tell me about your mother as a personality, as a person, and as an individual, because I love this, because so many women get pigeonholed into being a non-person when they're a mother. They're just a mother. So tell me first about who your mother was as an individual and then as your mother.
Okay, I'll start with individual. Very extroverted.
Okay.
Very open to experience, open to unknowns, very comfortable with uncomfortable situations.
Tell me more about that.
She didn't.
I see that
she
in
was
you,
stoic,
too.
right? So in the modern sense of stoic, calm, measured, even. She would not, she might believe something forcefully and her tone would still be measured and calm and collected. She believed and would talk about, power coming from that sort of essence or way of being. So I was raised in, a slurry of that sort of thing. But in her extroversion, she was very consistent with people, very, very consistent with all types of people. She would talk to a child the way she would talk to an old person or a middle-aged person, someone she disagreed with or agreed with. She spoke just very clearly, very thoughtfully. She was a good listener. So she really engaged with people in a very direct, one-on-one, honest way.
And do you think, speaking of good listening and terrible listening, I'm interrupting yet again.
I love interrupting. Conversational interrupting is my style.
I do too, honestly, because I get excited and I'm like, ooh. Do you think she was a person who really, you talked about power and the way she viewed power. Do you think that she then saw everyone as equals from a child to someone who might be seen as above her? Did she put everyone on an even plane?
I don't know
what
she believed about people as individuals. Sometimes she would talk about people that she liked or didn't like, and she had all the opinions everybody else has. When she treated people, she treated them with the same level of respect.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it is in part a lot of the way that she wanted people to treat her. Mm-hmm. She grew up having to learn how to speak with a different accent, and she was very intelligent, but people didn't assume she was intelligent. So she was very careful to understand that her silence would give someone plenty of space to make assumptions, and the more space that she allowed, the more direct her interrupting that would be, right? As soon as you start speaking and somebody realizes that you are far more intelligent than they imagined you to be, or that you're more well-spoken, or that you're paying much better attention than even they were to what they were saying, they get very, it catches people off guard. I've watched that happen with my mom growing up all the time, like constantly. It was like the constant thing that you were doing. You just sit there quietly, just waiting. And then mom would say something very simple, very short, and it'd be over. Yeah. And the person would be
for those fools.
Yeah, for those fools who were like, oh, goodness gracious, I should have stopped talking 5 minutes ago. Because she's actually memorized the thing I'm referencing, and she's going to quote me back to my face.
Great.
And this is going to end terribly. But she was an expert at getting what she wanted out of people in, what I consider to be a relatively rational way to do it. Let people tell you what they're willing to do, and then ask them to do it. One of her moves that I've copied in my life is ask people to tell you what they expect the world to be. And when you get them to lay that out for you, it's very easy to then point out where they're not doing it. And they all of a sudden have nothing but to be receptive towards it. Yeah. So, be aware of people's own policies, have them tell you what those things should be, and then highlight where they're not meeting the expectation or where you would like something to happen that isn't happening if they have framed it in the way that they believe is what they think should be right. Then you're no longer combative with them, right? You're not arguing with them. You're just asking them to do what they've said they're going to do.
Well, it's a listening first approach, right? And we talked about, having the responsibility earlier of employees at your soap company. And that's a great way to manage people. Like, have them speak first and then go from there.
Yeah.
So,
and there are lots of people who do that. My first career, everybody was like that.
Really?
Oh my gosh. They would start things by having the most junior person start talking. They just worked their way up. And then the most senior person would barely have to say anything.
I like that.
It was really nice.
That's neat.
And you'd like raise concerns right away because no one was going to tell you, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
They had to wait until you were done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like it's just a very honest and transparent way of working with people. And it's not trying to, you're not trying to make people fit into some box that you want them to be in. You're actually just trying to understand who they are and then operate with that real person in front of you. And I think a lot of times people are way more focused on their perception that they have and the person has of them, that they're talking to each other, but they're talking to two versions of each other that neither know and doesn't exist. And you get these like weird back and forths and these weird small talk conversations.
Or it creates conflict because you're talking to yourself, not really the person.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you're not listening because if you were listening, your conversation wouldn't make sense and you would have to stop because you're replying something that is not relevant to what they may have said.
Right.
So I don't know. That was like the most distinct thing about her was that style of extroversion of just very open, very outgoing, talk to anything, anyone. It ties into the like how neurotic or analytical that kind of person tends to be as well.
Yeah.
They're looking at, they're thinking the whole time while they're in these engagements. It's not intuitive. It's not, it's the intuition built over time. It's not the, flying by the seat of your pants. It's more of a, you notice things, you try to be objective. I learned later things like Bayesian reasoning, trying to update new information by reviewing in your head the old information and actually having the time to sit for a minute and wonder, what does this new information say given the old information I already have? Are those things contradictory? Does it reinforce it? What do I do with this new info? Instead of just going by the most recent thing you remember hearing. So I think she was very, very good at that, remembering what people talked about, taking notes about it, bringing it back up later.
Paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very attentive person.
How was she as your mother?
The same. This is what as a mother she was like this. Loving was in actions. It wasn't the big bubbly atmosphere of like love, 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 love. It was more fun and engaging. Dancing in the living room while music is playing, helping to cook dinner, just talking, just long conversations about, things, just things. It wasn't, hey, how was your day? How was school?
She wanted to know about you.
She wanted to know. Yeah. She wanted to understand.
Was she like that with your father as well?
Oh, yeah.
Like they were...
Yeah, we grew up with them just having long conversations. Everything in our house was just a long conversation all day, bouncing from topic to topic, politics to social things to religious things or philosophical, educational, just nonstop. And when you came into our house, you were part of it. Mm-hmm. And friends would talk about how that was. Like, you'd sit down at dinner, and if our friends came over for dinner, they would be expected to be part of the conversation. And if they didn't know something, Mom would be like, do you not understand that? No. Okay, let's talk about that. It was very different. You were included as like a 7-year-old.
Yeah. It sounds very, and this is such a throwaway word in the context of our conversation, but it sounds like you had a house full of intellectuals.
Yeah.
Right. You're working hard. It's not all fun and games. It sounds like there's fun to be had, dancing and music and love. But it seems that there's this underpinning, and you talked earlier about, the books that surrounded you and how your father was as well. So can you tell me more about the kinds of things that you would talk about in a more in-depth way?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like the books that were you required? Did you have required reading in your home, or was it just unspoken?
It was spoken, but it was not required.
Okay,
so
tell me more.
It was an expectation. We liked books. We liked reading.
All of you?
All of us.
Okay.
We grew up watching them read all the time.
Watching what?
Them read, our parents. We watched them read. They would sit down and be reading. My mother, in the later part of her life, was into politics and education. So she was working during the Bush years when they had the big education bill that right before 9/11 that then got passed, and there was all this funding and standardized testing and all that sort of stuff. She was working at the state level, in advocating for how she's a publicist, so she's working with organizations, a nonprofit and stuff like that, to lobby for specific types of ways of executing the mandates of the bill. Education for everyone, the whole leave no child behind, whatever that policy, that whole big era. That was when she was working.
Okay.
So we would talk about politics. We would talk about local politics, lots of local. They were very invested in local politics. We'd go to public school board meetings because she was very invested in education, how students were taught. She was concerned with both students who, I was from it was a very wealthy, nice neighborhood. The students, all the parents made plenty of money for the most part. There were some students who didn't, and they would often get left behind in a way by what was a very liberal education system because they wanted everybody in the same classroom. They would prevent students from moving forward in an effort to keep everyone together. It was an idea of togetherness and everybody in the one cohort. And I remember
go back to that. They would prevent students from moving forward to keep them together. What do you mean?
So the whole grade would be studying this curriculum. And if you were accelerated compared to the curriculum, you were bored this year.
Okay, got it.
There were lots of us that were having this problem. And my mom was like, this is not how this is supposed to be executed, right? Leave no child behind means that if you have kids who are bored because they're too accelerated, they need to be doing that work. And then you can focus on the kids who are not accelerating.
Yeah.
And she was just active in getting those things implemented and changed. So you grew up watching that, being dragged to it, but then also volunteering at the public school. And, all the book fairs, I lived 2 doors down from my public school too. So my backyard was the field that we played on. So everything was close. We were very active in the community, and we would talk about those things a lot. We talked about publications. They would read all sorts of things, magazines.
What were their favorites?
National Geographic would come. The small, conservative paper called Imprimis would come. They'd read the New York Times, the New York Post, the Wall Street Journal. They just read all of it. They had their beliefs and their leanings, but my mom would always say, if you don't understand something or they are what you are fighting against, you need to understand where they're coming from. You need to read what they're reading. You need to see what they're doing. You need to understand why they believe what they believe. If you're actually going to change their mind, if you believe that you're right and they're wrong, you need to understand them first. So it was just tons of stuff. We had baskets that would just be filled with magazines, books. We would have all of the fantasy collections that you can think of. We had all of them. That was the one thing. If we wanted a book, we could always go and buy a book. That was pretty much never said no. Hey, I want to go get these books at Barnes & Noble. Okay, let's go.
Did you utilize your public library as well?
All the time. Yeah. We'd ride our bikes to the public library, constantly reading. We'd talk about books at dinner. They would want to know, what are you reading? What was it like? Tell us about it. Spoil it, please. I'm not going to read it.
Yeah.
And we'd have lots of those kinds of just meandering conversations about what we're reading, what we're doing. We talked a lot about like right now as an adult, I'd frame it as the ethics of things like friendship. But it was value ethics is a lot of what we would talk about. How to treat people, how people were treated, the importance of, you know, I remember one conversation, my older sister was having a birthday party, and there was this thing in town where it was just cultural at the moment. You would invite your whole grade or something to a party. If you couldn't invite your whole grade, you'd just invite your whole class. And it wasn't like, you know, it was weird, right? Like,
this was a birthday thing.
Birthday thing, yeah. It was just weird.
I mean, that's still
like it's still a thing.
Happening.
Yeah, it's still a thing.
It's happening currently.
My mom would say things like, I remember this one conversation. She was way more concerned that the person who was left out was intentionally invited to this party. She didn't care about the other kids. She was like, no, we're having a small party. And my sister was like, I want to invite this person, but she doesn't get invited to things. People don't like hang out with her. And my mom was like, it is way more important that this person come than your friends or anything like that. The importance of like, that's true inclusion, right? Inclusion is not just bring everyone together and having them be included. It is pointing out and highlighting people who are excluded and ensuring that there is a space for them. Very like understood that concept as a kid. I understand it now as an adult. We have this DEI conversation that completely doesn't understand what that means entirely.
Right.
But like inclusion, that's inclusion it's an active thing. It's not a passive, everyone's here, it's great. You know, Mean Girls, everyone was here, they all hated each other. You know, so inclusive. No, inclusion is saying people aren't talking to you, they don't like you. I want to understand you and be your friend too, or try to.
Recently, I had a conversation with someone of an older generation, and they were talking about the act of, I think it was like Queer Friday is on campus. We all wear black jeans. And this person, very intelligent, very well-read, a sweet man, said, you know, well, I wore my black jeans, but I don't see what the big deal is, right? And this opens up the door for a larger conversation, which is, inclusion is about the recognition of the oppression, right? It's the recognizing that there was that child who never got invited and giving some love to that. It is, yes, it's for everyone, right? Everything should be for everyone, but it's the recognition of like, yes, but let's not ignore the fact that there's been
that's not reality.
Right. People have been hated and
they always
enslaved
will be. Yeah.
and died.
History is history. Like right? Like it's all
We don't want to look at our ugly though.
That's the thing. Yeah. Right. And we want to like have some sort of balm that's just gonna fix it.
But like we're all good now, right? Like we all just got invited to the party, so it's fine, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like posting a black square on Instagram.
Yeah, we fixed it.
Everything's better now.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
It's fine. It's fine, right?
Because everyone's on Instagram and knows what it means and cares what it means. And it's going to also like help children who get bit by bugs and die of malaria who actually are black in countries that we don't seem to care about or can't pronounce the names of their countries. It's like, you know, just be nice to neighbors and be nice to people in front of you and be kind and treat people with respect and look for people who deserve respect and kindness. Like, it's not just giving it out randomly to everybody. It's, you know, using it with intention. You know, I'm not a Christian, but that's pretty much what the New Testament talks about.
Don't they say that's how they do what they do?
Yeah, there's something about a good Samaritan.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like a bunch of laws based on it too.
But in practice,
no.
People aren't into it.
And it's all about the practice. I think that's like, I mean, not to make religion the topic, but that's my big beef with lots of religions is
Tell me.
Many of them are not practiced. Like,
you don't say.
They pretend like the belief is the important thing. It's like, have you met a super religious Catholic? These are some of the most doubtful people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Catholic school because I wanted to. My mom was like, really? The public school is better? And I was like, I want to go to Catholic school.
Really?
They had a better baseball team. I'd have a better chance at playing really well, getting trained really well. And also they had a higher admittance rate to the colleges I wanted to go to than the public school.
You had a plan.
Of course. I had a plan. I'm doing the power triangle again. Like, of course I have a plan. Yeah, but like there's the perniciousness of belief. I think it's not a religious thing, but religion uses it all the time. But what makes religion so interesting to me and the things I like about religion are the things like the practicing, where, you know, when I was taught by really Catholic nuns and priests, the ones who were really doubtful practiced a lot at their faith. And to them, their faith was asking questions about why God wouldn't exist to build up their faith, right? Because their faith is a belief in God without evidence, and they understood it rationally as people. One of them taught me multivariable calculus, right? Like these were not people who didn't understand how the planets worked, but they were choosing to do a practice because it bettered themselves in some way.
Yeah.
They called it faith. They believed in God. But that's no different than Taoism to me, or Stoicism, or Judaism, secular Judaism, especially the practiced ones, where it's all about the community. It's about the ritual. It's not about believing the prayer. It's about the ritual of saying the prayer together in the tones with the melodic harmonies to it, right? Like Catholics, what are they doing? Well, not many of them are practicing.
They're going to church on Sunday, but they drink on Sunday night heavily.
Yeah, they have no idea what practicing a religion or a faith means.
I will say, as a person who was raised Catholic, we send our daughter to Catholic school. It's a really great education. She's also neurospicy, so the structure really, really helps her.
They're good at education.
Yeah, they are. They're.
God was not in my geometry classroom. There was a priest. But God was not there.
Did you need God in those moments? I
no,
bet
they
you
didn't bring him up. We prayed at the beginning of class, and we're like, all right, to the board. Like, they weren't messing around.
You know, our daughter she has a specific religion class, but what I've liked about her education is not unlike you. We come to the dinner table, and she is like questioning things.
Great conversations.
We would not have put organized religion in her life by choice. And the fact that she's getting that type of education, I think, is really beautiful because it's allowing her the framework to bring up these things. Like very quickly in like second grade, it was like, wait, what?
This doesn't make sense.
White guy in the sky with a beard? I'm not so sure. And I'm like, me
like,
either.
I already have a daddy.
Yeah. Sky daddy. I'm like, yeah, babe, let's talk more about that.
I'm glad you're reading this book, honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, no.
Yeah. Women still as property. Does that feel right to you, beloved? No. Like.
Well, you're both just wrong.
What do you mean?
Women are property. That's what the Bible said in the olden days.
Oh, man.
Every word in there is truth.
Oh, Lord. Ironically. Oh, help me, Jesus.
He's like, I tried. I told them to throw out the first book, and they said, no, let's put them together.
But the men aren't done writing.
They're like, we'll piss off too many people if we erase the old one.
Yeah, yeah.
Put it into a compendium.
I don't know what that word means. I love you so much already because I'm like, you've said like 60 times words I've never heard.
I'm so sorry. I should try not to.
Please don't apologize.
Okay.
I love it. Use that word again and tell the folks what it means.
A compendium, it's a collection of things that are, I think it requires like wholeness to it. Like it's a collection, like a full collection.
Okay.
Like a compendium of stories, like the Lays of Marie de France. Or it's like everything they found from that era at that time that they think could be attributed to her. Then it's a compendium of things. But maybe I'm totally wrong. Words fly in my head and fly out of them, and I'm pretty sure that's the Latin root.
The challenge of this podcast is going to be like, try to have a guest on that's smarter than your first one. That's now become the challenge. It's all downhill from here.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you'll find really smart people, I'm sure. Really interesting people.
Well, I also believe
they're all going to be fun in different ways.
Being an intellectual is one thing. Being emotionally intelligent is another. Some people have both.
I've had to train at what I've got.
Tell me about that training.
Well, it just doesn't come naturally to me. Like I can see someone's face and read their emotions, but then I start thinking about what they're thinking and I'm wondering about, I'm stuck in my head and I'm so even keel that.
On the outside.
I'm pretty even keel.
You said two things. You said I'm stuck in my head, so you're spinning in here.
Yes.
But you're even. Okay.
I'm stuck in my head as in that I'm always, while I'm paying attention to what's around me, I'm also analyzing things in my head. So there's like this running, it's like running in my head all the time.
My therapist calls it the ticker tape.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And they're just thoughts that they're flying in my head all the time. And I like pay attention to a good number of them. And empathy was something that I didn't always do super well.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a bold statement. Tell me more.
Yeah, I was just, if something didn't accord with how I viewed the world and I thought someone was being ridiculous, I would behave as though they were being ridiculous. My threshold for what I thought was ridiculous was low.
Okay.
Very low.
Okay. Okay.
So I had issues
is key.
as a kid. Like I'd have friends who'd get upset or want something and I would just not understand why they're acting up. Like I ended a friendship with somebody because he was yelling at his mom and I literally went up to her and I said, I really like hanging out with you, Mrs. G, just the initial. But I don't want to be this person's friend anymore. And that was it. Like I walked out and walked home.
Some might call that boundary setting.
Boundary setting, I could have been way more empathetic to my friend.
That's a good point.
When I wasn't. Instead,
How old were you?
14, 13. And he's a fine person, a fine individual, and there's nothing wrong with him.
Do you miss that person?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't regret it.
Okay.
I just have reflected on it, and it wasn't a person that I wanted in my life for a long time. I already knew that. He was a friend of, proximity. Mm-hmm. We had known each other. We grew apart, even though we were in the same public schools. Then we went to the same high school. So we all of a sudden became two of the few people who knew one another at the school.
Yeah.
So it breeds like a familiarity. But it wasn't somebody that I was invested in as a person. I did not really invest a lot of time in other people that I didn't think were as intelligent or ambitious as I was. So I was very choosy. I spent my time on my athletics, my academics, and friendships were things that at that time I was fine with kind of letting fade out, so to speak, and be more focused on teammates and study partners and things like that. I think part of it was just preparing to enter, a different world and realizing as I got older that I didn't have patience for, idiots. I mean, not that I think that people are necessarily idiots, but lots of people make really dumb choices and do not pay attention to things around them. So that leads to some loneliness. And you have to then realize, okay, what am I doing wrong thinking about people I want to be around? And when I was in college, everybody around me was intelligent. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. Mm-hmm. And as I was making friends in this environment, I was being very open. I no longer had to believe in God or pretend to.
When you say had to, based on your familial structure?
Familial structure and the Catholic school, like Catholic high school, you just don't loudly say that you're an atheist. Some people do, but you just don't do it.
I live in the South, and I'm always like straight away. People are like, "Where's your church family?" And I'm like, "I'm a heathen."
It's like, I eat babies for breakfast.
That's right. I just say, we're heathens, actually. We don't attend church. We don't believe in organized religion. And then this is the clincher. Are you ready? I say, we do our best to love all people. That's our religion.
I like that.
And people aren't prepared for it.
No.
Because I'm like, we truly try to lead our lives with love. That's the key.
But here's the
love
problem.
Is religion. Tell me.
They asked you a question about your social group and about how do I place you in my head? And you responded with a moral superiority. So to like somebody that is a religious thinker, that's offensive.
Yeah.
But it's not something that they can engage with.
I don't care.
And I know you don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, I find it interesting. Like I just find it very interesting, like because I will not have that conversation with a religious person. As soon as I find out that that's what they are, I just stop talking.
Yeah.
I'm like, or I'll just say, oh, you believe in God. There's nothing else for us to talk about. I used to do that. Like I used to like want to have a zinger, want to tell them that it's okay to be atheist. And then I kind of realized that that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to...
Do you think there's an agenda in that question that they're asking?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about like...
How
it's like monkeys. It's like monkeys meeting for the first time.
How can I categorize
Where are you in the hierarchy?
Yeah.
How do I understand you? How should I treat you?
But when I respond that way, it's my way of saying,
fuck you.
I'm not interested in your hierarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether or not you think my answer is right or wrong, I'm not interested.
Oh, and I agree with you completely. Right?
Yeah.
Like I used to... I think at a point now where it's not worth even saying that to you.
Yeah.
Like I don't, like the times when I would do that, for me it would feel like I'd get a little hot or I'd get like offended.
Really?
Or like, well, no, because sometimes it's like you feel like they're saying something that is wrong with you, right? Like that's kind of how it feels sometimes when you see their face after you say, oh no, I don't believe in God. Or I've gotten the, oh, well, I'm sorry, like that condescending thing. And you're just like, I just want to fucking slap you.
I think, well, maybe
and now
our
I'm just
experience
like, I don't want to
has...
talk to you anymore.
I think our experience has been a little bit more like, it's been warmer than that. Because often the reception that I get is like, oh, and whether or not
it's the
there's...
South too.
It's the South. So whether or not there's judgment in that, oh, and there's a giggle and a laugh, and it's like me breaking the tension of your expectation of me, and I'm not going to participate in it. And then it's like, and we're moving on. And specifically, I'm thinking of when we moved into the neighborhood and other people walking in the neighborhood. It was that conversation.
Yeah.
But people are bold in the South. Like it's like,
they're
where are
forward
you
about it.
from? And that's the second question is about spirituality.
I think it's just such an interesting point of view that I try not to engage with.
Yeah.
I have in the past, and ooh, that was a burp. I have in the past.
I would say bless you, but
Gesundheit. Good health. Not to get too German, but I think like it's a mindset, and I don't like the social participation aspect of hierarchy and all that stuff. I really do not like it. It's my same issue with social media, and it's all kind of bundled up together as like these are social groups that are mainly structured to establish norms that can operate as hard and fast rules for people, and that they can use social influence to force people to behave one way or the other. I, as a liberal, mostly classically stoic, I believe that we should be using that power and influence in a totally different direction than one that helps the belief in God. I love community centers. Like if somebody said, hey, like we have this like, event at our community church, like you don't have to be religious, anyone could attend, like I'd love if you came with me. That is so much more open and welcoming than like, what church do you go to?
Right.
And when someone's asking what church you go to, it's just they feel like it's a nice thing, but they're laying all their cards out on the table, and then you gotta start wondering about like, oh, this person already has a script in their head of everything. They're not going to be open to new experience in the same way. If that's what they're interested in, then they're not really interested in people, because they would be asking an open question instead of a presuming one. And cultures are like that. I just didn't grow up in one. And it's, I guess, back to the empathy thing. It's a direction I don't channel it in, and I won't. I treat them like conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
It's like once you've crossed that line, I'm like, oh, thank you.
Now I know.
Now I know.
It's interesting that you balk at the idea that someone would try to build a framework around you, and then what they say gives you a framework about them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a mind fuck.
It is. But it's not, I mean, those are the biases that are unavoidable. You just got to like look them square in the face and go, okay, that's something I do. Am I okay with it? Yes. Like the idea that we can all be non-discriminatory is bonkers, because that's just what our brains do.
Yeah.
All you can do is analyze the way in which you're discriminating. Like, am I doing something that is wrong, that I believe is wrong, in discriminating this way? And I don't mean discriminating in the sense of like doing something bad to somebody or holding them down or oppressing them. I mean just like distinguishing the difference between them.
Yeah.
And just saying like, you are this way, or you are this type, or you are this thing that I'm not going to
It's going to create
saddle up my
friction
actions
for me.
with. Yeah, I'm just going to avoid it. I'll be nice to you when you're in my presence, and I'll be kind to you because I'm kind to everybody. Because going back to my mom, I treat everybody the same way.
Yeah.
If you say something crazy and wrong, I'm going to out loud say you're crazy and you're wrong, and that's probably the only thing I'm going to say to you this whole time.
Yeah.
But I think that's like instilled in me, and I've just had to add the empathy thing on top of it, which I have found is really, I think that's the thing I have loved the most about going to therapy and doing all those things is people who don't empathize and don't practice at it are really missing out. And I feel crazy bad for people who cannot control their empathy, like hyper empaths, and like people who go around feeling like that all the time. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a lot. But it is an amazing skill
Yeah.
to have and to build. And people who it comes naturally to, it's like, it's very, I think it's like underestimated, it's underutilized, underpaid in every industry where high empaths are there. They're all so underpaid.
Right.
And I feel like they all just need a representative to walk in and argue for an increase in their salaries for them.
Yeah.
And just, no, don't worry about what everyone else is getting paid. This is what you deserve. Sit down.
Have you met this guy? He's
Like,
an empath.
Let me handle this for you.
He's probably going to cry in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but your whole team's going to love working with them, all right? He should get paid 120%. Anyone else on the team, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Would be a good manager.
Yeah, it's like it's the garbage way of saying like that's the personality hire. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the sauce that's going to keep the team together.
Yeah.
You need that guy.
My part-time employee that I'm trying to like build up and have her join full-time and give her a store one day, she's one of those people. And I've told her multiple times, that is why I hired you.
Yeah.
I hired you because that is a skill I cannot train in somebody.
Yep.
And I can have you go do anything, and you're going to bring that skill with you. Like, that is highly valuable. Like, don't let people walk over you, but also
Yeah.
keep at it. Like, you can break a glass bottle of lotion. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no one can be as understanding and nice to other people as you are. Like, or very few people. And people are going to talk to you and be like, wow, she saw me, and spend $80.
And we sell some soap at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So going back to something you said earlier, where we were talking about spirituality and religion, and that it's sort of I'm paraphrasing, but like an uninteresting question to ask, right? Is that fair?
It's fascinating.
I try to be a person who asks interesting questions and open-ended ones because I think,
you're
like
good at
you,
it.
well, you're sweet. Thank you. That really gasses me up from you because I think you're just a delight to listen to, and I mean it. So I'm going to ask you a really open-ended one.
Yeah.
Give me 2 things. Yeah, and please take a moment. What matters to you? Give me 2 things that really fucking matter to you.
Ooh, my attention is number 1. That's an easy one.
Your what?
My attention.
Your attention matters to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like one of the only things that I can control consciously that I have to experience in and through. And I'm unwavering in the belief that my attention is my most valuable resource.
And you're stingy with it because we've talked outside of this room, and
I'm stingy with it.
Yeah, tell me more.
I'm very cheap with my attention. Not cheap with it. I'm very discriminating with my attention. I think I mean, there are some people who I will give 0 seconds once I've established
I can't tell.
back to the religion. Like it's like gold, and the only way to use it, your attention, is to give it out. That's how you use it. You give it away.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give it to things that I can't learn from.
Like social media.
Yeah.
I mean, one could argue you can
I mean, I
learn
use
on
Reddit,
there.
right? Like if that's a social media, I use Reddit, and if you looked at my Reddit thread, it's going to be all like ask feeds, like ask philosophy, ask science. Like I'm reading nerd stuff most of the time, and like maybe 1 or 2 stand-up comedians come through my thread, but that's it. I want to be paying attention to things that I can learn from, that are going to be where I'm going to walk away knowing more than when I started. And it's a pretty easy rule to follow. And, I consider if I were to sum up my entire life, it would be summed up in the moments of my attention.
Okay. So your attention is important to you. What else is important to you? One more.
The second one is probably, so this is more of desire than it is necessarily out of practice.
That's fine.
I would like to think that my relationships are the number 2 thing, but I don't think I behave in the way that they are. I think that's something I've been working on. Something that could be a lot better, but I would like that to be number 2. I probably, if I'm using number 1 to determine what my number 2 is, I probably spend most of my time and attention on my business.
Yeah.
I really do care about my physical body. I'm very conscious of what I eat, how much I eat, how regularly I eat.
Only octopus once a year.
Only octopus once a year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I won't eat.
Okay, I like that. I like that in a human.
There's nothing I won't eat.
Yeah.
Things I don't like. But I've also loved learning how to make those things taste better.
Yeah.
So
tell me more about your focus on relationships, though, and how you're trying to get better at that. Do you mean holistically? Are we talking familial, friendship, chosen family, friendships, romance?
I think about it in the way that my meditation on the widening circle works. So,
tell me about that. We talked about that.
We talked about this last time.
Outside of this room, but put it here.
So the widening circle is a meditation I do. It's a Stoic meditation. I think it's probably in a lot of different practices. You start with your psyche and yourself, and you think about yourself, and you don't move forward until you have compassion. And compassion is kind of like that trigger to then expand your net of what you're doing. And I'm talking about practicing empathy, right? You're trying to work, it's your empathy muscle. Next is my dog. And then it goes to, familial relationships. Mm-hmm. My family had a lot of death in it. So there's a lot of undeveloped trauma between people and amongst people in my family on both the Italian American side and the Caribbean American side. So a lot of those things I'd like to untangle. Those are journeys.
Is it like unprocessed grief, if you don't mind me getting in there and asking?
Some of it's grief for sure.
Okay. Unresolved conflicts.
I think death also highlights everything else that was wrong, right? Like when somebody dies, the good things cease, but also so do the bad things.
Sure.
So like tensions between individuals, that ends. But then one of those individuals has to keep living with mm-hmm. like whatever was the unresolved tension.
Right.
I think my relationship with my dad is very much changed by all of that. My relationship with my sister, of course, is very changed. She was 12 when everyone died, kind of one by one deaths, mm-hmm. but over the course of about 1.5 years. And then I was 16. So a lot of my mom being sick and then people dying are faded memories to her, mm-hmm. whereas to me, they're formative and seared. So, we have different recollections of the past, different understandings of living together in the past. And in the 10 years it took for us to slowly grow apart and to have space and to develop as our own people, I don't imagine it's going to take less time to converge again and to build that back up. But that has to be intentionally. and done with proximity, right? Like maybe I have to move to wherever she is one day if she's going to have a family somewhere and I don't. That's, something I think about, right? Like, oh, yeah, I'd probably do that. Like it'd become far more important. If she has a child, becomes way more important,
does
right?
she know that, or is she going to learn that?
Oh, for sure. She comes to Bonner every year. We do things and we talk. It's
She's like, when are we living close to each other?
She's a doctor or finishing med school, so she has no idea where she's living, and I'm certainly not going to live wherever she's living at first.
Yeah.
Because, what, going to Montana? No, thank you. Big sky. I've gone for a trip. It's fine.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
You'll be fine.
Beautiful. That's a big Walmart. Jesus. Didn't know they made them that big until I worked in Montana for a bit.
They make them big,
They make them so big.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
They got to make them big to hold all the things.
I was like, Trader Joe's still makes more revenue by square foot.
I love that you're a marketing nerd. And you know that. So let's go back to the circle. So when you're thinking the familial piece of your meditation, tell me.
It's, part of it is my cousin Ellen. She and my sister were very, very close growing up because Ellen's my age and my sister was a year older. I'm talking about my older dead sister now, not the younger living one. And when Caitlin died, that was, of course, traumatic for Ellen. Ellen and I did not have the strong relationship at the time where we like bonded over it or together.
Okay.
We both kind of decided in college to make more effort, and we've both worked really hard, and now we're best friends with each other. Like best friends. Like we'll tell other people that. We'll tell, like, that's just what it is. We're best friends, and we talk all the time, constantly. No small talk. And that was my first person I really worked on that with intentionally. And I've been doing that with my sister more so lately. But I want to spend the time channeling the practice that I do for myself into those people in that closest net circle.
Pouring into them.
Yeah. My father would be one of those aunts and uncles, and it just keeps getting wider. And I don't know when it ends or how far I get. Again, not really the point. I don't think there's going to be some magical future where we're all so happy and everything is fine. But I know that it's important that I'm focusing my attention on it.
Yeah, living as a practice and meditation as a practice, right? There's not an end date. You're not like, I'm done. I've done the work, no. Capital T to capital W.
Yeah, you need a double barrel shotgun to the face for that.
Yeah.
That's the only way to be done.
Dark. He's dark too,
ladies humor,
and gentlemen.
Sorry, a little bit.
So dark. Yeah. It's so good though.
But I mean, death is the end, right? That's the whole point.
And also it's kind of hilarious.
It's always funny.
It's always funny. Death is like the worst thing that could happen, and it's for sure gonna happen. It's a sweet little guarantee.
I don't know if it's the worst thing.
Well,
it's just the end.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yeah, it is just the end.
I've thought about that one a lot.
Tell me.
Just because, like, my sister killed herself, so you think about that all the time. I think it's maybe a remnant of religious thinking that we consider death to be either the ultimate good or the ultimate bad. The idea of heaven and eternity, the idea of like, well, it's all over. The more I've reflected on, especially my attention and how I spend it, the worst thing that can happen to me is to not notice the time I've spent and to like not have been paying attention.
Right.
That's way worse. You read people who have suffered torture, how they talk about life and living. If you've never gone down that rabbit hole.
And it sounds like you have.
I've gone down that rabbit hole. Read the writings or listen to people who've been tortured or mutilated or who've had prolonged suffering.
Yeah.
The way they talk about life and attention without using those words, it is far more calm and at peace with presence than other things. And they'll talk about, like, I've read people who talk about torture and talking about, the place that they go in their head to escape. That's their attention. That's their intention to not die. And it's their attention that they are latching onto in that moment, and they come out of the experience with a totally different understanding of how they're going to talk about their family. Like they'll talk about the relationships that they didn't have. They'll have talked about how they thought about it during the torture and how they want to repair things and do things differently. And, you know, people who survive terrible cancers, similar sorts of stories, where they like changed a ton of things in their life after.
They're YOLOing so hard after that.
Yeah. They're like, I was wasting so much time doing all this nonsense for all these people that I don't care about. And they're like, shoot, let's like pull the rug out from under everybody.
Do you think your sister's death helped pull that into sharp focus for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that
and
combined
mother,
with becoming an atheist are the two like things, because I like shortly thereafter stopped believing in God, like not, you know, within 3 or 5 years, right? After my sister dies, I'm like gone full atheist. I do not believe in God, do not believe in afterlife.
Is it because, so you're drawing a line, it sounds to me, let me know if I'm hearing you correctly, you're drawing a line between those two things, but is it a result of that? Is it an analysis of what that meant to have someone taken from you in that way? Were you pissed? Is it a fuck you, I'm not believing in this, or something different?
Definitely not a fuck you, I'm not believing in this.
Okay.
It was a more of a calm realization that this was not true. So my mom dies first. She had cancer for years. I spent all of my time, I spent it with her, and there was zero regrets. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. It's fine. She dies. I was like, yep, she's dead now. That's how the cookie crumbles. I knew it was crumbling this way. No regrets. I'm happy with it. My sister spent almost no time, struggled, fighting with my dad all the time. Between my mom dying and my sister dying, we lost like an aunt, an uncle. My mom's brother, my Uncle Bert, he was a very open-minded guy, did a lot of different things.
Okay.
He was also a professional skydiver. That was a hobby. That wasn't his full-time job. That was a hobby.
Okay.
Like, you know, big groups of people skydiving and making patterns in the sky kind of thing.
Okay.
He went and did a show, shoot didn't open early enough, hit the ground, dies.
Wow.
That's like the spring. Another uncle, cancer comes back. He dies within like a week. The night of his like wake, Caribbean wake is a big party kind of deal. We're having a party and everything. Sister killed herself that night. So it was a long chain of events that are all kind of strung together. So causally, I have no idea, but I was very aware that none of this was like planned. It all happened.
You're like, there's no God in this.
There's no God in this. Yeah,
Got
there's
it.
like point to where. Someone point to where. And I'm in Catholic school reading the Bible at the time.
Right.
And I'm like, point to where. I have nuns and priests and lay people. The lay people, they do not know what to say to people who've just lost someone. The nuns, great about it.
I love a nun.
Oh God, they just don't beat around any bushes.
Mm-hmm.
They just sit with you in silence. It's like, oh, you just recognized I needed presence. Thank you. Like, so easy. They can pray in their own head, you know?
There is, my husband and I both have met Dolly Parton, and there's a vibe. Okay? I can't explain it. And it is the equivalent of being in the presence of a nun. There's a nun at our daughter's school that you feel her when she's at the end of the hallway and she's coming for you, and it is juicy energy, baby. I can't explain it.
It feels good.
To me, that's like, there's God in that. What God actually is not for me to say, but I'm like, it feels juicy, a little juicy godliness.
God has entered the chat.
The group chat. Okay.
So
continue.
I think like, oh goodness, where was I?
So we were talking about nuns, but you were saying like, bam, bam, bam. These things happened in succession.
Yeah, the causality of the whole.
And you were like, there's no grand plan.
Yeah. So they're intertwined. They're related. I think it's more of a like impetus for me to start thinking about these things critically. Not so much a reason why I didn't believe. I wasn't not believing in God because these people died and God couldn't exist. I was understanding that there's no God. I was looking for these kinds of questions and answers because all these people may have died. And it was confusing and difficult. And lots of people were pushing me towards religion, right? They were saying like, you know, pray about it, like God loves you, blah, blah. And then someone else would die. And then these people would not say that again the next time, right? Like,
funny how that works.
Yeah. When they see you at the third funeral, they don't say stupid stuff anymore. They remember the last 2 times, right? That they said stupid shit. And they just keep their mouth shut and they give you a hug and they're like, and you realize that this is life.
Yeah.
This is living. If I have the opportunity to spend all that time with my mom again, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
That's what matters. The time I didn't get to spend with my older sister, that's what matters.
Yeah.
God has nothing to do with it. I just catapulted into a totally different direction.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know, I was like, oh, science, that's so simple. I can constantly pursue understanding. It praises openness and updating your information. And the more I learned about it, the more I studied philosophy and classics.
You said science, right?
Science. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know, when I say science, I do also include like the early philosophers who were asking questions that required evidence and observation, logic. They used rhetoric, which is not a great tool for understanding the world, but they used it. Like if you speak in a certain way, we can therefore know it's true. They tried it, doesn't work, but you know, they used logic. They created algebra. They were pursuing questions to understand, not with the assumption that they knew what it was. And that's the bit, is like you let go of what you think everything should be.
Right.
And then you can just be open to whatever it is. It's way easier to pay attention to things that way. So
final question, in that ultimate openness, do you personally make room for the possibility that this is clunky phrasing, at the end of it, one might get to God? And in your openness, do you have space in your life? So it's a 2-part question. In the unknowing, is there God in that? And if you encounter someone who uses God, whatever God is, as their tool for peace, are you okay with that? That's like an opinion.
The second part's easy. Yeah, I'm
for sure.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Do you,
just
baby?
Just don't tell me that yours is true. Yeah, like
righteousness.
I would never go and tell someone that stoicism is the true way to live their life.
Perfect.
Right? Like that sounds crazy. It's just a way I like, and you know, it accords with my belief set. If religion works for you, religion works for you. What was the first part again now?
The first part is, in your openness, are you open, like you as an individual, like, oh shit, well, I think this way now. And I have no agenda because I also don't give a shit what people believe.
Openness to God.
Open to the possibility that living a life studying all this science and being so enmeshed in stoicism, like when you're 80, might you be like, oh, well, that is God?
I don't think so, because I don't know how to talk about this around the concept of God at all, because I don't. It's like asking about, like, will it all be a hamburger?
Yeah, is it
it's
turtles all the way down?
Yeah, like, I don't even know how to answer that question. I'm open to a God existing. I would still need evidence and everything. If I die and I wake up and there's St. Peter at the pearly gates and he's like, you've done well, you've all this stuff, but you didn't believe in God, so you can't come in. I'm happy with going to whatever hell there is, right? Like that's, you know, I'm...
Okay, last whack question. I have to get this in because it's the ticker tape in my brain is just saying there's definitely God in that mesh shirt. I'm sorry I had to say it. I love it so much. Thank you for wearing it.
Oh, thanks for having me.
A little bit of free the nipple for the people.
Yeah. Good look.
Let them out. Let them out. Last question is... We're going to have to edit this because I've now... Oh, here it is. Let's pretend for a moment you've died and you've gone to heaven, right? Suspension of disbelief.
Happy to do it.
Okay, thank you for this final exercise. Who or what greets you? What's it look like in your fantasy life? You're dead. What's the first thing you see? It can be as absurd and silly as you want it to be, or as heartfelt.
No, I know exactly what it is. I'd be at our lake house in New York, sitting on the cliff that we would jump off of, just looking at the water, and the people that I want to be there would be there. That'd be it.
That would be the idea of heaven to you.
Yeah.
You, at the very last second, have made me well up.
Aw.
That's sweet. That's a really beautiful answer.
It's the image I conjure in my head all the time.
Do you use that when you meditate as well?
Oh, yeah. It flows in. I don't actually think about Lake George much when I meditate.
But Lake George is it.
Yeah.
Lake George. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to yours for your time.
Thank you so much. I've loved giving it my attention.
Thank you for not being so stingy and coming back a second time too.
Oh yeah, it's been very pleasant. I've liked it a lot. And you're a very good conversationalist. It's very easy to talk with you.
I'll take that compliment, and that means a lot to me. I mean it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Baby. If you live in the Nashville area or are visiting soon and want to be a guest, email us at jonathan@freshconsumables.com. That's JONATHAN@freshconsumables.com. Our show is executive produced by Sherry Day, Farley Day, and John Arnold. Produced, edited, and engineered by Jonathan Cosick. Additional camera work by Andrew Herner. Designed by Josh Ford. Want to hear more of Surprisingly's meaningful and unpredictable conversations? Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Bridget Dinahan. Thanks for listening.